That little dime in your pocket could be worth hundreds or even thousands. While most Roosevelt dimes are just 10 cents, rare dates, mint errors, and silver content make some of them incredibly valuable. Collectors pay big money for these hidden treasures. Before you spend that dime, let's see if you might already have one worth a fortune. The 1972 US 1 dime coin may seem like nothing more than a tiny piece of pocket change. But in the world of numismatics, even the smallest coin can tell an enormous story. At first glance, it is simply a Roosevelt dime, part of a series that began in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck in 1972, and most people alive today have seen or spent one without giving it a second thought. But the true magic comes when you realize that a few rare survivors, coins in pristine condition or with unusual minting errors, can be worth extraordinary sums. In fact, some 1972 dimes have reached values ranging from $52,000 to as high as $122,500. Imagine holding something in your hand that most people dismiss as 10 cents, yet collectors would battle at auction to own for a life-changing amount of money. That is the allure of the 1972 dime. To understand why certain examples of this coin are so valuable, we first need to look at its design. The obverse, designed by John R. Sinek, features a portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States and the leader who guided the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Above Roosevelt's head rests the motto Liberty, while the words "In God We Trust" appear just below his chin. To the right, near the truncation of the neck, lies the date, 1972, along with the mint mark if present, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. On the reverse, we see a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength. The inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and 1 dime frame the design. This simple yet powerful artwork has endured for decades, reminding Americans of Roosevelt's legacy while also embodying the nation's core values. In 1972, the U.S. Mint struck dimes at 3 facilities. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 432 million with no mint mark. The Denver Mint struck over 376 million with the D mint mark. And the San Francisco Mint made proof coins with the S mint mark. With such massive mintages, it is natural to assume that these coins should hold no special value. But numismatics teaches us that rarity comes not only from how many were made, but from how few survive in exceptional condition or with unique minting characteristics. This is where the story gets fascinating. Most of the dimes minted in 1972 entered circulation and endured heavy use. They were carried in change purses, exchanged in vending machines, and passed through countless hands, resulting in scratches, wear, and dull surfaces. Finding a coin from that year in pristine, untouched condition is incredibly difficult. Coins that were saved in original rolls, mint sets, or carefully preserved collections sometimes survive with their original luster and sharp details intact. These high-grade survivors, when submitted for professional grading, can earn remarkable designations such as MS-67 or MS-68. And here is where the values leap dramatically, with some pristine examples fetching prices in the $52,000 to $122,500 range at auctions. But condition is only part of the equation. Error coins and die varieties are another reason certain 1972 dimes are worth a fortune. One of the most popular error types is the double die, where elements of the design, like Roosevelt's profile, the inscriptions, or details of the torch and branches on the reverse, appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die creation process. Collectors love these coins because the doubling makes them visually unique and immediately recognizable. Another category of rare errors includes off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned on the coin's surface, leaving part of the planchet blank. Broad strikes, where the coin expands unnaturally due to being struck without its retaining collar, also create striking oddities. And of course, one of the most coveted errors is when a dime is accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, such as one intended for a foreign coin or another U.S. denomination. Each of these anomalies adds tremendous value and makes the coin a standout in any collection. The proof dimes minted in San Francisco in 1972 add another layer of intrigue. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, struck with polished dies on specially prepared planchets to produce mirror-like finishes and razor-sharp details. While most 1972 proof dimes are common and worth only a few dollars, rare varieties or perfect examples can bring huge sums. Deep cameo or ultra cameo proof designations, awarded to coins with exceptional contrast between the frosted devices and mirrored fields, are especially prized. A 1972 proof dime graded at the very top levels can command eye-popping prices, reinforcing just how important condition and rarity are in driving value. One of the most thrilling aspects of this coin is the way it has surprised collectors and investors at auctions. Imagine a dime, something everyone views as virtually worthless beyond its face value, sparking bidding wars that push the final price into the tens of thousands. These sales captivate the numismatic community, reminding us all that treasures are hiding in plain sight. In some cases, collectors have even stumbled upon valuable 1972 dimes in change or old coin jars, not realizing what they had until closer inspection or professional evaluation revealed its true worth. Beyond the technical details, the 1972 dime also carries historical resonance. By 1972, Roosevelt had been honored on the dime for more than 25 years, cementing his place in American memory. That year also marked a time of great change in the country. Vietnam, the Watergate scandal brewing, and shifts in culture and society. While these dimes circulated in everyday life, they were quietly marking the transactions of an America in transition. Today, when one of these coins is preserved in nearly flawless condition or displays a rare error, it becomes a time capsule, offering not just financial value but also a tangible connection to history. The lesson of the 1972 dime is one that applies broadly across coin collecting. Extraordinary value often hides in the most ordinary places. What most people dismiss as small change could, under the right circumstances, be a life-changing discovery. It's why coin collectors carefully examine every piece they come across, why rolls of coins are searched, and why old boxes of change are never thrown out without a second look. The possibility that a dime from 1972 could be worth $52,000 to $122,500 keeps the passion alive, fueling the dreams of collectors and inspiring new generations to look closer at the coins they handle every day. For many, the appeal goes beyond the money. Owning a rare 1972 dime is about the thrill of the hunt, the pride of finding something few others possess, and the joy of preserving history. Each coin tells a story, from the design that honors Roosevelt's legacy to the quirks of the minting process that create rare varieties. It is a reminder that coins are more than currency. They are miniature works of art, historical artifacts, and in some cases, tickets to incredible fortune. So the next time you see a dime from 1972, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Look closely at the details, check its condition, and consider its potential. Because hidden among the millions of common examples are those few extraordinary coins, the ones collectors dream about, and the ones that can turn a simple 10 cents into a staggering prize worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is the enduring allure of the 1972 dime, and it is why this small but mighty coin continues to captivate and astonish to this very day. In the world of coins, there are certain stories that capture the imagination because they remind us how something so small, so ordinary, can carry with it a value and a history far greater than anyone might expect. The US 1 dime coin from 1990 is one of those stories. At first glance, it looks no different from any other dime you may have spent at a gas station, slipped into a parking meter, or dropped into a tip jar without thinking twice. It's tiny, weighing just 2.268 grams, and most of the time people barely notice it when it rattles in their pockets alongside quarters and pennies. But within the world of collectors and numismatics, a select number of these dimes from 1990 hold an almost mythical place, commanding values that can range anywhere between $46,000 and $112,300 depending on rarity, condition, and variety. The 1990 dime belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946. It was designed by John R. Sinek to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing, as Roosevelt had been a strong advocate for polio research and was deeply associated with the March of Dimes charity campaign. On the obverse of the coin, Roosevelt's left-facing profile dominates the surface, with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, the date 1990, and a small mint mark just above the year if the coin was struck in Denver or San Francisco. The reverse of the dime features a torch at the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Encircling the reverse are the words United States of America, e pluribus unum, and the denomination 1 dime. Billions of dimes were minted in 1990 at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, along with proof coins from San Francisco. The vast majority of these dimes remain extremely common, worth only their face value. They slip unnoticed through countless transactions every day. But among this enormous production run are rare errors and variations that elevate some examples into the spotlight of coin collecting. That's where the magic begins. Point one of the most famous rare pieces associated with 1990 dimes is the 1990 no-S proof dime. In this case, a small number of proof dimes minted at the San Francisco Mint were released without the S mint mark, an error that went unnoticed at first but became one of the most desirable modern coin rarities. Only a limited number of these are known to exist, and their scarcity has fueled bidding wars at major auctions. Collectors are willing to pay staggering sums to acquire one, with prices climbing into the tens of thousands and, in top condition, breaching that extraordinary $46,000 to $112,300 range. Imagine the shock of discovering such a coin, a dime that looks almost identical to billions of others, but because of a missing tiny letter, it suddenly transforms into a treasure that could buy you a new car, pay off a home mortgage, or fund a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. That tiny oversight at the mint created one of the most legendary modern-era coins, and it's a reminder of how powerful details can be in the world of numismatics. But the no-S proof isn't the only way a 1990 dime can become incredibly valuable. Mint errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, and dimes struck on the wrong planchet also exist. For example, a 1990 dime accidentally struck on a copper penny planchet or a blank intended for a foreign coin can bring in immense value at auction. Each error is unique, a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history that collectors prize because no two are exactly the same. These quirky, rare mistakes create excitement because they show that even the precision of the U.S. Mint isn't immune to human and mechanical errors. Condition, of course, also plays a critical role in determining a coin's value. Most 1990 dimes have endured decades of circulation. They've been scraped across counters, carried in wallets, and exposed to the elements. Their surfaces often show scratches, nicks, and general wear. Finding one that has survived in pristine mint state, with its full luster, sharp strike, and no visible blemishes, is a rarity in itself. When such high-grade examples are paired with the right variety or error, that's when prices can reach into six-figure territory. Coins certified at grades like PR70 for proofs or MS68 for mint state can set auction records because collectors know how unlikely it is to find a 1990 dime in such flawless condition. What makes the story of the 1990 dime so fascinating is how easily overlooked these treasures can be. There are stories of collectors and even casual hobbyists discovering rare 1990 dimes while searching through pocket change or roll hunting from the bank. For someone with an untrained eye, these coins might seem completely ordinary. But for those who know what to look for, the missing S mint mark, the slight off-center strike, the unusual metal composition, they can represent a life-changing discovery. To put it into perspective, think of all the times you've handled a dime. You may have thrown it into a jar at the end of the day, left it in your car's cup holder, or even dropped it and not bothered to pick it up. Now imagine that very dime being worth as much as $112,300. It's the kind of twist that captures people's imagination and fuels the never-ending hunt for hidden treasures in everyday life. Beyond their monetary value, these coins also carry historical significance. The year 1990 marked the final decade of the 20th century, a time of significant cultural, political, and technological change. The Cold War was drawing to a close, the Berlin Wall had fallen, and America was looking toward a new era. Against this backdrop of global transformation, the dime remained a quiet constant, small, practical, and reliable. Owning a rare 1990 dime connects collectors not only to the legacy of Roosevelt and the symbolism of the coin itself, but also to that particular moment in history. Auctions featuring rare 1990 dimes have produced dramatic moments that underline their importance. Imagine a room filled with collectors, each eager to add a no-S proof dime to their collection. The bidding starts modestly, but as hands shoot up and the numbers climb higher, the atmosphere becomes electric. When the final gavel comes down and the coin is sold for over $100,000, the crowd knows they've just witnessed history being made. It's not just about the money, it's about passion, rarity, and the thrill of the chase. This is what makes the 1990 dime so much more than a piece of pocket change. It symbolizes the intersection of everyday life and extraordinary value. It reminds us that details matter, that history can be preserved in the smallest of objects, and that treasures often hide in plain sight. Whether it's the famous no-S proof, a unique mint error, or a flawless high-grade example, the 1990 dime has secured its place as one of the most compelling stories in modern U.S. coinage. For collectors, the search continues, and for everyday people, the lesson is clear. Don't ignore the coins in your pocket. Every dime, every penny, every nickel could hold the potential for discovery. So the next time you see a dime from 1990, take a closer look. Because one small coin, worth just 10 cents in everyday transactions, could instead represent a fortune, valued between $46,000 and $112,300. And that possibility, that thrill of the unknown, is exactly what keeps the world of coin collecting alive with wonder and excitement. The 2021 dime coin is one of those small, everyday pieces of change that most people pass from hand to hand without thinking twice about. A dime, just 10 cents, often overlooked, often lost in car cup holders or left in the bottom of a drawer. But within the massive number of 2020 dimes that were minted, there are certain examples that have stunned the coin collecting world by reaching extraordinary values. Some of these coins, depending on condition, minting details, and rare varieties, have been valued at astonishing prices ranging from $32,000 to $80,250. Suddenly, a simple dime becomes a treasure, and the story behind it is one worth exploring in depth. The design of the 2020 dime continues the long-standing Roosevelt dime series, which was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II made him one of the most respected American presidents of the 20th century. The dime was chosen to carry his image because of his connection to the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, a disease Roosevelt himself had battled throughout his life. The obverse features his familiar profile, while the reverse design shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 2020, the Roosevelt dime had already become a mainstay of American currency for over 70 years, a design so familiar that most people hardly notice it. What makes the 2020 dime stand out, however, is not the design itself but the unique factors surrounding certain examples. In the world of coin collecting, value is always determined by a combination of rarity, condition, and demand. While billions of dimes were minted in 2020 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, the reality is that not all dimes are created equal. Some leave the mint with striking errors, some are preserved in pristine condition unlike almost any others, and some gain a reputation among collectors that drives intense demand. These are the dimes that break away from the crowd and enter the realm of extraordinary value. One of the biggest factors influencing the price of a 2020 dime is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. Most coins, even when they first leave the mint, already have small imperfections like scratches or bag marks from the minting process. That's why a dime that achieves a grade of MS68, MS69, or the extremely rare MS70 is such a big deal. These coins are virtually flawless, with sharp details, perfect luster, and an appeal that sets them apart from the millions of others. Collectors who specialize in modern coins often compete to own the highest graded examples available. And in these bidding wars, prices can soar. It's in this space that we see some 2020 dimes climbing from face value all the way into that $32,000 to $80,250 range. Another element that can dramatically impact value is the presence of minting errors. Error coins are like little accidents at the mint that somehow make it past quality control and into circulation. While the vast majority of 2020 dimes look completely standard, a small number have been discovered with errors that transform them into rarities. Examples include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing, double strikes where the coin is struck twice, or die clashes where the design elements appear where they shouldn't. Even more dramatic are transitional errors, where the coin might be struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime design appearing on a blank intended for another denomination. These rare mistakes are the types of discoveries that make collectors' hearts race and can easily push a coin's value into the tens of thousands. The 2020 dime also holds importance because of its place in recent history. 2020 was a year unlike any other in modern times. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted not just everyday life, but also the production and circulation of coins. The U.S. Mint faced staffing challenges and restrictions, which in turn affected coin output. This led to localized coin shortages in circulation that year, making many people suddenly aware of coins in a way they hadn't been in decades. That historical backdrop adds to the significance of the 2020 dime as a collectible. While billions were still produced, the story of that year creates a narrative that collectors find compelling, and coins tied to memorable moments in history often gain a special place in collections. Auction records have shown just how serious collectors are about the 2020 dime. Coins certified at the highest grades or with dramatic errors have crossed the block, drawing attention and high bids. Collectors who want the best of the best, whether to complete a registry set or to own a standout modern rarity, are willing to go far beyond what most people would ever dream of paying for a dime. These auctions are where those astonishing numbers come from, with prices reaching $32,000, $50,000, and even up to $80,250 in some cases. The passion of bidders, combined with the scarcity of such exceptional examples, drives these numbers higher and higher. What's especially fascinating about the 2020 dime is that it remains a modern coin, still circulating, still being spent in everyday transactions. That means the potential for discovery is very real. Anyone who looks closely at their change, searches through coin rolls, or pays attention to small details has a chance of stumbling upon one of these rare treasures. For many collectors, that thrill of the hunt is what keeps them searching. It's the idea that something as small and ordinary as a dime could turn out to be worth tens of thousands of dollars that makes the hobby so exciting. This accessibility is part of what makes modern rarities like the 2020 dime so appealing. Unlike coins from the 1800s or earlier, which most people will never find outside of specialized auctions, the 2020 dime is current, familiar, and in circulation. That means anyone, regardless of whether they've been collecting for decades or are just getting started, could theoretically come across one. Stories of people finding rare error dimes in circulation fuel this excitement and keep collectors motivated. It's also worth noting that the Roosevelt dime series continues to be one of the most collected modern coin series. Because it has been in continuous production since 1946, it offers collectors the opportunity to build complete sets spanning decades. Within this series, varieties and errors like the 2020 issues stand out as highlights. Owning one of the most valuable modern dimes in such a set gives collectors a sense of accomplishment and prestige. That prestige is another factor driving the incredible values these coins can achieve. As time goes on, the number of flawless or rare 2020 dimes will only decrease. Coins are spent, scratched, or lost, and error coins often go unnoticed and end up damaged before being recognized. This natural attrition means that surviving top-quality examples or rare varieties will only become more sought after. Collectors understand this, and many see these coins not just as collectibles but as investments, knowing that their rarity and desirability are likely to increase in the future. The story of the 2020 dime proves that even the smallest coin can hold tremendous value. While most people see it as just 10 cents, the truth is that in the right circumstances, it can be worth anywhere from $32,000 to $80,250. That transformation from the most ordinary of coins to an extraordinary rarity is what makes numismatics such a fascinating world. Every coin tells a story, and every coin has the potential to surprise. The 2020 dime reminds us to pay attention to the details, to look closer at the coins we handle every day, and to appreciate the incredible history and artistry that goes into American coinage. It may be small, it may be humble, but in the right condition and with the right circumstances, it becomes one of the most impressive modern treasures collectors can own.